Everyone, welcome back. So, probably this week we are going to just do one stream today and one tomorrow. And Thursday, Friday, we won't be doing any stream. So, let's start with some of the Angular 16 APIs, and then we can probably do orders component. And probably we will just create an orders component and then use the same for our Angular 16 uh, new APIs which we have, right? So, we want to try those out. So here I'll create a component. So we already have orders component here, and then I'll create another component called order list because the API which I want to talk about is related to input property. So let's do that. I'll create a new component. So I'll just do an generate, and what we want is a component. And hope you're able to hear me properly. Generate, and we'll call this as orders list. And project name is orders. It should be standalone, which we have by default. We want to export it because we this is a library, so we should. Let's do generate. And here it is. So we have orders and orders list component. And what we will do is we will right now just pass some dummy data to this component because we just want to explore the API, and then we'll probably do other stuff. So this component will be our dumb component, as we have discussed. Like dumb component is something which just takes the input and it does not do anything on its own. So we already have a similar component for cart, right? So we have a cart list, which is the same dumb component. So here we'll use the input property, and let's do one thing. I'll create a property, input property, and I'll just name this as uh, what categories, and this will be an array, or let's say this will be a category, not categories, but let's say this is a specific category which is type of string, and then we can say, hey, this is default is, it's okay, we can skip that. So let's say it doesn't have any default value. And the way generally input property works, right? So if I want to use this property somewhere, what I will do is we'll go back. Okay, so let's put default value just to avoid this, so we don't see this error because we are in strict mode. So to use this component, what I can do is I can go to this orders, and I can put component, and then I have to do one more thing. I have to make sure that I import this component because this is a standalone, and otherwise it will not recognize this particular component. So I'll just add it here and done. So now if I go back to component, it's not giving any errors. But let's say what we want is we want this input property to be mandatory. It means the users should be able to or should pass this value. So earlier we used to do it via setters and getters. So the way setters and getters works is you will create an input property, and then you will say, hey, this is a setter, and we'll say products, not products, but I'll just comment this out because I want to use the same name. Uh, so I mean, I'll show you both approaches because it's possible that you can see this in your code base, and if you see this in your code base, you can actually replace this using the new API which we have. So we'll say, okay, this is string, this is setters. So this setter will be called once anyone tries to set this property. Here I'll category. So if someone tries to set this property from here, right, like this, property binding. So just So this setter will be invoked. Right now, I'll just remove this. And here, let's say if I want to make it mandatory, the older way of doing this is we'll say, hey, if this category is available, if category, it means there is some value. Or as this is a string, we can say, hey, if this category is not equals to blank, I mean, it's not empty, then do something else. You can say, hey, throw error, new error called categories required. So this is old way, but you see the downside of it. This error will be actually thrown at runtime. So it means if someone forgets to actually handle those exception or forgets to pass this value, this will exception will be available on your user's machine probably. Of course, you can capture it in case you revisit this code, but just think about having such code in like thousands of lines of code. Impossible, right? So the new way of doing this is using this input property with uh, with a object, or we can say a parameter called required, and you can say, hey, this is required true. And now whoever is using this component org order list, they have to pass this category as mandatory input. So let's go ahead and try to save this. So you can see now advantage. So let's talk about the advantage which we are getting here. So as soon as you say this is required true, your build will fail. So it means rather than actually seeing this at error at runtime, now you are actually seeing this at compile time. Hey Pradum, hi, how are you? I'm good. I'm doing good. Nice to see you here. So I mean, just throw away if you have any such code, and if you are using Angular 16 or you have migrated to Angular 16, just go ahead and do this, and that's it. You're done. So, and one more API which I wanted to talk about is there is a transform functionality which is available, but I have to see which version of Angular I'm using. So that requires 16.1.0. So uh, I have to upgrade my Angular version. Probably I'll do it later, not to break anything. But here you can see we just learned about the input required property, and now you can just go ahead and use it. And now I have to make sure that I pass this property wherever I am using the list. So I have to say, hey, this is category, and then category is, let's say, this is test, right? So that's it. So your now your this error will be gone, no compilation error, and that's the way to do it. For another property or another API which is available for input is called transform, which is available on 16.1.0. I'm not on 16.1.0. It's good to get errors. Yep, exactly, right. So the early you catch the error, it's better, right? So you don't go with this error on production, and that's what Angular is trying to do. So you should be able to catch as much as error possible at the compile time. So over the years, it has improved a lot. Most of the errors is something which is possible, or you can see during the compile time itself. So right, we can actually see the API signature from here. So you can see it says arguments, and let's so input decorator, and then you can pass some inputs or arguments, which is one of them is of course required true. And next is see where is the required. Just looking for the property inside the yeah. So here, so we have required alias. So third one which is added is transform, which is not available because we are not on 16.1. Hey Sonu, uh, happy to see you. How are you? Great. So we'll go back to our orders or we already have cart, and now what we can do is we can go to place order. So let's go to cart, src lib, and here we will place a button, right? So I know the UI doesn't look that much great, but as I said, the designing or designing things are not my cup, not the best thing which I could do or I can do. I mean, probably I'll do it maybe on another stream where I just do or I just struggle with how to do CSS stuff. Because I can, of course, if I have to, I can do that. But yeah, let's talk about checkout, right? So now we already have a cart, and now we can do checkout. And on checkout, after checkout, you go to a payment page, and then from payment you can like submit your payment, credit card information, whatever you have, and then you submit your payment, and then you submit the orders. So for checkout, what we need is we need another store, and here checkout is actually another functionality. So it makes sense to actually have this as a separate library, right? Because we have been all for all the features, we are splitting them into a different feature library. That's what we have been doing so far. So it has its own. The only thing which we have to do is we have to actually just lazy load. No, we have been lazy loading. We have to just move the routing functionality in its own component, which we haven't done so far. So that's something which we have to. But let's build the checkout functionality. So checkout, which will contain our payment page, and uh, let's go ahead and create the lib. So, hey Sonu, how are things? Uh, how's your work going on? So what we need is a library, and somehow you have a different image here on YouTube. You look much younger. Check out. So we need this to be buildable. It's lazy. We can actually choose this option as well, but yeah, let's do it right. Let's do it later on. Okay, cool. So we have this checkout, and what we need. Yeah, I thought so. I mean, so 20 years ago, long time. I was in school that time. No, I had just completed my 10th standard. Just a second. 20 years ago. Ah, okay. The photo is from 20 years ago. I thought like YouTube was not there 20 years ago. So we need, where is the, which library we created? Checkout, right? Where is that checkout? Or we just created common? No. What happened here? So checkout, let's go ahead and generate. So yeah, I mean, in case you're on live, you're live. So Sonu was, Sonu did like a lot of contributions to the Angular, and he's also one of the Angular collaborator, which is another program similar to like GD program, but it's more about just contributing to the code base. I mean, more about contributing to code base. That's how you get the collaborator, which of course it's a difficult task to do. He achieved that. Great, yeah. So we got the library. Probably it just ran in a dry mode. So what we need? So we need a checkout page, and on checkout page, what we can do is we can show some information about the product, and give a form, right? So let's create the form. I'll say, hey, this is constructor, and here we'll say this is private property. Check out form, and we'll say this is type of form group, And we'll just use the exclamation mark to avoid like initializing it right away. And we can use form builder, right? So I'll say private fp form builder, and let's define our form. So checkout form is form.group, and what we will have. So on checkout form, we will say, okay, you need to we need few information. For example, of course, we are going to need name and everything, which is going to come from the store. So we don't need to get this inside the form. So inside form, what we need is we need probably a shipping address, billing address, but we can also take it from the user information, because there is already something called address which exists. So let's concentrate on the last part, which is credit card number, right? So what we generally have is credit card number and credit card expiration, CVV, and billing address, right? So billing address, we said we can take it from the store. So credit card number and name, right? So card name on the card. So I'll just pass it as name on card. Yeah. Thanks, GitHub Copilot. And then here we can pass some validation. So I'll say, okay, this is validation, validators, not validations, validators dot required, right? And expiration, of course, required, CVV required, and everything is required basically. But we need to have few more validation. For example, credit card number. This should be like 16 digit, 448. Yeah, 16 digit, right? And credit card expiration, it's we can also split this into year and a month, which if you want, but it's okay right now. CVV should be 3 digit, right? I mean, most of them are 3 digit. I have never seen more than that. Probably if some card exists which do that, but let's add those validations as well, right? So I can say, hey, this is validators dot min length, right? So validators dot, but this will be a number, so we can pass min max, but min max is actually not the length. It's based on the minimum value and maximum value. So I think um, min length should be okay. Let's see, and length should be 3. I mean, we should not allow anything below this. For credit card number, let's see if there is any regular expression which exists, so I can show you one more way. So credit card regex. Ah, interesting. So I was not aware that there are many different types of credit cards. For example, this is different. Mm, So then remove all, and then all other non-digits from strings. Use the regex that matches Visa, Master. Okay, this is also enough. Do not use regex. Okay. So someone wrote a entire function and Rupee regex for leading card. Okay. So okay. So the thing is, of course, it's not a good idea to have regex. Just so okay. So forget about it. We'll not use regex, but we can probably put that. Okay, it should be maximum 16 characters, right? So let's do that. And I can say, hey, this is validators, and it should have min length of 16 and max length of 16. That's fine. Or if there are some cards which has less, looks like, but yeah, it's okay. I can say 15, right? So 15 and 16 in case some cards which is 15 characters. And this is our form. So let's go ahead and display or create our form tag. And we can say, hey, this is form, and then am I writing in CSS? Okay, I thought so, because But the weird syntax there. Form, and then we have our uh, form group. But you can see I'm not getting the intelligence. What I'm missing, of course, this is a new way to write a component, right? Standalone. And we have to import everything which we need into imports array. This is where we want reactive form. So I'll say, okay, hey, give me reactive forms module. And as soon as I do that, yeah, I mean, 16 is okay. We don't have to complicate this is anyways not the actual code base, right? So I'll say, hey, this is checkout form. And then we can use the material form, right? So we have to import the material uh, mat mat input module, and then we have mat form group module or mat form field module, and then mat button. So this is something which we have to do, right? We have to add this imports because we want to use this, and we have to do it in each and every component as of now. In older days, we used to just add one big module and then add everything there, which was not a good idea, by the way. I mean, I always hated the concept of this shared module, which still exists at a lot of places for some reason. But so I'll say, hey, this is mat form field, and we can say this is input, mat form field, and let's add. I'll just replace the names, right? So if you see, it is actually randomly providing me something, but at least something is better than nothing. I'll say, okay, this is credit card number, and we can say, hey, this is credit card number. We have credit card expiration, then we have CVV, and name on the card. Generally, name is last, and this is name. So CVV and this is expiry. So we have this form available. We can just add some CSS, which we can copy from login because I've already written some CSS or just borrowed some CSS from somewhere else. I think you already know my CSS skills so far. So, okay, so I'll just go ahead and use this one. I can actually add it in the global one, but it's okay. And not a good idea again. So don't just add everything into your root, because you may want to customize some form in other way at other places. Form field and say, okay, this is class example form, and the other class is example full bit. So we'll add those classes here. Here. Right, so this is done, and what we need is we want to actually provide a route for checkout. So we can click on checkout button and then redirect to checkout. Let's go back to our app config or app routes, and let's provide one for checkout. So we have orders. Let's provide path, and I'll say this is orders. Not orders, checkout. Out, load component, and checkout component. So let's see. This is the component which we want to load. Let's save this and go back to our cart. And in cart component, we will just add, okay, there is something which got failed. Interesting. This dot, so why we have this function here? Here we want to have make payment. So let's see if closing. So here, okay, I think which closing is this one. Okay, I just missed the form one. So we have this matching, this matching. Okay, perfect. Compiled. Hope there are no errors, and we can go back to our card component. And here we can use the router service, right? So we have store here. We can also say, hey, give me the router service, private uh, router, and here we can just navigate to checkout. You can say router.navigate, and let's verify the code which we have written so far. It works perfectly fine. We should be, the expectation is we should be able to redirect to the checkout page. 2200, we need username, password, which we have, and then let's add some product to cart. Let's go back to the cart and click on checkout, and checkout works. So here we are so far. So we just need some more information to add and then make payment, and that's it. So here what I need is matte raised button, color primary. So I need, you can see the button was actually not the actual material button. So we can just add matte button module, right? So this will fix that issue, the CSS issue which you saw. And what else we need is we need the some information from the cart, and let's go ahead and take them. So we already have our NGRX store, and that's the advantage of having a store, right? Otherwise, what you have to do is you might have to actually go to service, retrieve this information again related to your user, related to your product. But right now we all have all the information available in the store. We can just say, hey, give me this data, and then that's it. So I'll just use private. And one syntax which I haven't been using a lot is inject function, which is also a really good way to use or write code in Angular 16 and onwards or 15 onwards. That's something which is available. But yeah, it's okay. Inject store, and then what I need is from cart, we need cart information. I think cart is something which has all the information, so we don't need to even go to the user because we are selecting, and we are selecting and giving all the information in the get cart query. So the same which we are using on the cart page. Let's see, cart, select cart. So we can use the same one, user card selector. So this is something which will be more than enough to give us all the information we needed. And to avoid the circular dependency issue, we moved the state last stream, right? So we moved everything into common, so we don't have to like go through those circular dependency issue. And you can check out the video. So if you go to the playlist, there is something called circular dependency uh, in the title, and that's the one I'm talking about. So we have this information here, and what we need is the user information. So we use a div and display all the information here. So we need a name, and which is card dot, because of course we need to use the type, right? So we have cart information as cart, and then username, email, address. We need first name, last name as well. Okay, just move this. I just move this here. So, and then close this one into container. And we also need the total amount, right? So if you think, I mean, we also have we have to show how much payments, how much amount to pay. So we can show, hey, this is amount. And to do this, we can actually calculate and push this into our cart, which I don't think so. There is a that's a good idea, right? So we can actually just have the products and show the final price by calculating at when we check out. And to do that, we can do it in in multiple way. The best is we can use pipe, right? If I was using signals, I might have used compute function, but that's something which we'll see later on. Here I can say, hey, cart, we have product details. That's the one. Let's see what we have inside product details, or we have products. Okay, so this is the one I'm looking for, product details. And what I can do is I can just create a new pipe which takes this information, calculates the total amount for us, and gives back the total amount. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll create a total amount pipe, and here I'm not going to use it somewhere else. Maybe I can, but as of now, we don't have the requirement, so I can just use it here. So I'll say, hey, give me generate a pipe, and this should be like standalone pipe, and we'll call this as total amount, right? So show all options. There should be something called standalone path, because I have standalone true by default. Yeah, here it is, right? So standalone. Okay, I haven't set that for pipe. Great. So let's see. Hmm. So this command works. Let's click on generate. And here it is. So we have this our total amount pipe. You can see standalone true. So to use this pipe, one first thing which we have to do is we have to add this into imports array. Let's go ahead and do that before we miss this out. Total amount pipe, and let's add the functionality. So what we are going to do is we are going to get the product information here. So we have product, or we can say products, and this will be the product array. We don't need the second property, so we can like keep it as that as it is. The return type would be number, and to calculate the sum, we can of course use reduce, like, so we can say, hey, this dot, so products price, right, just like this. Okay, that's because it can be undefined, but why? Okay, let's remove this, and we'll not keep it as undefined. So this fixes that issue. By default, we can keep quantity 0, right? So that's okay. So this will return the amount, total amount for by calculating it for each product. So current price into current quantity. So this is okay. We can now go ahead and use this product or this pipe. Let's go ahead and display it here. Product details. Argument of type product or undefined is not assignable to type of product array. So okay, again, because we said product details, see, that's one of the problems by like when we define everything as optional. So I'll not, anyways. So here, this is cart interface. I think it's available here, but I don't have it undefined here. So why it is saying that it can be undefined? Product array. Where is it? Where we have this as undefined? Probably in our state. Select. Let's see, product count. This is not, so cart reducer. Do we have here current cart? And no, not even here. I'm not sure why it is saying that it can be undefined, but it's okay. We can actually handle this information, or we can handle this scenario. So let's go back to our checkout. So what it is saying is, of course, it can be undefined. You can always take care of such scenarios by wrapping it inside an ng container, or you can say ng if. So I can say this is a div, right? And then I'll say, hey, this is star ng if. And here I can say if cart dot product details dot length is 0. So it will not complain about this anymore. Not, but here product array or undefined is not assignable to product array. Strange. Hmm. Cart product array. Okay. Hmm. So we will return 0 if there is nothing. And if everything exists, we should get the total amount. So let's go ahead and check out our checkout page. All products, login, click, add some product into the cart. Let's go and see the cart. Okay, so we have our cart information. Click on checkout, and the total amount is 204. Let's verify if it's correct. Looks like correct to me. I mean, when this is 109, 55, 77, 80. Yeah, close to. Yep. So the only thing is, of course, we have this numbers, right? So we should like display only up to two decimal, and that's something which is possible by not writing another pipe, but we can actually just say, hey, this is number, and it is two decimal, right? So that's what it means. I hope so. Let's see. Let's verify. I always get confused with this next parameter, but I think it should be okay. View cart, uh, display, and here it is. So something strange happened, right? The amount, no, the amount is correct because we have less product. Let's add more product. Let's add this cart, this particular quantity multiple times. So we have this 4 times, and let's click on checkout, and here it is. So amount is updated, so we don't have to do anything, right? So it's all of the information is actually coming from our store, and we are calculating the correct amount based on the store. And we can also display the currency. So we can say, hey, this is currency, and uh, we'll display INR, right? So we can see this in INR. I mean, by default, the API uses, I think, USD, but it's okay. View cart, and this is the price. Click on checkout, and this is how much you have to pay. I mean, if you get this much in 188 rupees, why not just go ahead and place the order? Uh, let's complete this and add a payment button, right? So we'll say credit card information, expiry, CVV, name on card, and then we push all this information into our orders array. So we sorry, still have some time. Uh, let's place this order. So I'll say button and pay and place order. And what else? We can actually just move this form inside this container, right? So what do we need any details from here? No, I don't think so. I mean, we have all the information available into the store. So we don't need, we just need this form information, and then we'll pass this information with the current cart ID. That's something which we need. So we can say, hey, this give me cart dot ID. So in case my cart has multiple sorry, in case my cart has multiple cart, I mean, I can do that. Otherwise, I don't think so. Even if you need cart ID also, I think because we are referring to the current cart, so we don't need even cart ID. We can remove this. We can just say place order, and whatever is available into the cart, we just place the order with those information. Say this is place order, and let's put few checks here. So I'll say, hey, this is disabled in case, sorry, checkout form dot invalid, right? So yeah, property. So we should not be able to place the order without submitting anything. And here we can have some, we can have another store, right? So for checkout, we can say, hey, this will actually go ahead and place the order. So we can create another store where we just save the orders information. So I'll just leave this as it is. I'll just do a console.log and say this is or console.log, but info saying uh, your order, your order has been placed. Login, add to cart, view cart, checkout, credit card information. Let's put, so this is more than 16 characters, looks like. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. Expiry, say this is 12/25. Not my credit card expiry, so don't try this at home. Or this is not my credit card. So let's say this is done. Let's inspect. Not inspect. I just set view source somehow. Let's click on console, and this is something which I've been getting from some time because I missed something, and I'll fix this later. But here it is. So your order has been placed. So we are here, pay and place order. So next is what we want to do is we want to have a store, different store for placing our orders, and we can do that later. So let's check. What we can do is we can actually create a new branch from here because we have added enough information here. So let's say feature checkout, in case like you are trying to see the video and code along, you should be able to get this information into a separate branch. And let's check in this check in the code which we have so far. Add -m, and we can say this is add checkout uh, component or checkout view, and we can push. And what we can do is we still have few minutes left, and I don't think so I'll be able to complete the store in store one. So let's upgrade the Angular, right? So let's create a new branch and we see how we can upgrade the Angular with NX. So I'll say feature upgrade Angular. And to do that, I'm going to just rely on NX console. So NX console has uh, all the commands which we need. So here okay, where is NX migrate? No problem. I can say npx NX migrate. See, this NX migrate will migrate all the packages to the latest version. Hmm. So the provide the correct name and version. Why so? It was not needed before. Let's see if something has changed, because with NX16, I think it's available from NX16. You can separate your Angular update and NX update, so they don't have to like go parallel or together. So I'll say search for it. Hmm, there it is. So NX migrate latest. Let's see what it does. So fetching metadata about packages, it may take a few minutes. It means it is fetching something. So it is actually going to fetch the latest NX and should fetch the latest Angular version as well. Not the beta or the release candidate, but the stable one. So if you're using NX, you can actually just go ahead and try it on your workspace as well. Just and it will run all the transformation as well in case there is some deprecation, there is some code changes which needs to be needed, as Angular also does that, right? So if you remember NX update, sorry, NG update, so Angular can update some code for you, and NX does the same. So NX actually under the hood calls all those Angular migrations, and it will migrate everything to the latest version. Let's see how much time it takes. I mean, I have a better internet, so should not take much time. Probably running those migrations can, but so once it fetches all the information, we have to run those two commands. It will tell you which two commands which we have to run. One is, of course, we have to upgrade our packages, so which is npm install. So it will tell you, okay, hey, we have upgraded all the packages. Just see and run npm install. So all the packages will be upgraded, and then you have to run the migration. So it will tell you another command is this one, uh, probably nx run migrate or uh, migrations.json. So it will create a file called migration.json, and then you can just run those migrations. Nice. So it is also upgrading Angular material, Angular core, Angular CDK. So all the packages related to Angular. So you can see it's 16.1.5, and we wanted 16.1 for the another transform API, which we have. And by the way, if you're in India, I mean, my friends are actually doing a conference in Delhi, New Delhi. It's called CityJS India. So last year they did the virtual because of course, COVID restriction. But this year, the first in-person conference or the first in-person CityJS India will happen. It's in New Delhi. So you can just go to cityjs.com and see, choose like the New Delhi one, and you can go there. They're also doing one in Berlin in November. So if you are around Berlin and you want to join, you can also come there. There is another CityJS which is happening in Belgrade in September. So I am going to speak at Belgrade and Berlin. Of course, I don't have money to travel to India now. So, but yeah, in case you're interested, these three cities are where CityJS is going to happen, and these are two commands. So you can see it says, hey, run npm install, because we have added some packages. You can see those packages here, but it will not automatically install it for you, because you need to verify if you actually need all these versions. You can see it has not upgraded the ngrx packages. only Angular one, you can probably run the migration for NGRX separately. But let's do that. So we have npm install, and then we need to run npx nx migrate run migrations. So this run migrations is actually something. What it will do is it will create. We have this migrations.json file which gets created for every time you run a migration. So the best way is not to check in this file. So never check in this file. You can actually add this into git ignore, and let's do that. So here I'll just say, hey, this is what file was that? Migrations.json. Because as a human we have tendency, right? So actually forget about this. So that's why I'm showing it to you. Never check in this file. It's useless once you have done the migration. If you want to save this somewhere, I mean, it's up to you. That okay, once you migrated to this version, what happened? uh, Maybe so, but most of the time it is just not required. So I'll just say, hey, don't check in this file, and you can see I have it get ignored. So npm install. Okay, somehow it was too quick, so I'm sure it got cancelled. So once we run npm install, and then we have to run npx nx migrate. So this run migration, basically what it does is it goes to this migrations.json file, and it checks what are the migrations which we have to run here. So it says, hey, there is an nx cypress migration, there is a just migration, there is an angular migration which says remove the accessibility prefix, which for Angular ESLint. So, and there is another one for Angular which says upgrade the CLI version to 16.1. So that's it. So these are two things which we have to do, and there is something wrong here. Let's see what it is complaining about. So it says Angular dev kit build Angular 16 has incorrect dependency on 15, sorry, greater than 14 and less than 17. And next Angular 16.3.2. Okay, some dependency mismatch. I'll just go with force. So it will just ignore all this because I have to read which version could not resolve build Angular 16.1.4, 16.1.5, because there is some package which is not compatible. It's okay. I mean, you can, as of now, you can just say hyphen force and move on. Nothing is going to break. Don't worry. The only thing is, of course, you have to do hyphen force everywhere, even on CI, which is not a good option. Should not do hyphen force. But for demo, it's okay. So let's hope it gets completed soon, and then we can run our migration, and we can check in all this, and then try the transform API next in the next stream. I thought my internet was faster. So I'm sure this is something coming from some of the package. I'm not sure which package, but you can always verify this. Like it says, hey, here 16.0.6, and it's not matching to this platform browser dynamic. Actually, this is something which you can always refer into your log file. So your log file has all the information. So which version is installed, uh, which will be installed once you run this npm install. But yeah, generally this is where you can verify, and who is actually asking for this version. That's also available. So platform browser dynamic. So platform browser dynamic 16.0.6. I'm not sure why. And you should check in your log file. right? So you can use it on, you can have like same version for everyone. That is something which is recommended in case you have a large team. Either whatever you are using, if you are using npm, you will have a package log file. If you have yarn, you will have a yarn log file. If you have pnpm, then of course pnpm also has a log file. And that's very useful, especially in the large team where you have like hundreds of developers working on a same project, and someone updates the dependency, does not update log file. It may actually just introduce some unwanted issues. And why this is not working? Well, it got stuck. Okay, just cancel it, and then I'll try again because it's not moving. So I'll say npm install -force recommended protections disabled. Yeah, that's fine. Org source. And this is where it got stuck last time as well. Could not resolve dependency. Angular, just preset Angular. I'm not sure what it is. Completed in 15061 millisecond. Interesting. Let's see. So testing, I mean, 50 megabits per second. I think this should be enough to download all the packages. I'm not sure why it's stuck. Upload is okay. I mean, I can still do SD stream, which I'm doing right now. But what matters is the download speed for installing these packages. Because I'm sure this is not because of ngrx. Ngrx does not use platform browser, if I'm not wrong. They just use the normal Angular APIs. Or it can be. It says 16.0.6, right? So let's see the ngrx version. Where is that? ngrx 16.0.1. Okay, I don't think so. It's related to this. Get it installed. Why? Could not resolve dependency, and we are all waiting for get it like to like this install to be completed, which is almost done. I'm not sure why it is not moving out of this Angular common. Just verify one thing. I think I have Node latest version, right? Version 18. Yeah, that's okay. That's what we need. Interesting. Looks like some infinite loop. Okay, anyways, I'll update this the Angular version, but you I think you got what we need to do. So we need to run the next migrate latest. Then we need to run two commands, which one is npm install. This is where it got stuck. And then once this is completed, we have to just run the migrations. and you also get a migrations.json which tells you what will be updated when you run the migrations, and that's it. So once this is completed, you migrate it to the latest version. Generally it is recommended that you should migrate with one major version. If you can do it frequently, I mean, that's nothing better than that. So if you have, like, let's say 16 and then 16.1 gets released, and you if you can migrate to 16.1, that's recommended. But if you say, let's say, if you have a product and you are scared about like upgrading the version, like as soon as the new version comes in, always go to the one major version. So let's say if you are on 13 and right now we have 16, just don't directly migrate from 12 to 16. From first, go to 12 to 13, commit the changes, go to production, then in next iteration migrate from 13 to 14 again, commit the changes, move to production, just verify if everything works, and then go to 14 to 15, and finally 15 to 16. That's the recommended way of upgrading your Angular version. And somehow the npm install got completed. So now we can actually just say, hey, give me the npm. Let's hope I still have the command somewhere. Yep, here it is, npx run migrations. So we can run the migration and then we can finish our migration as well. And then we are done for the day. If it takes time, I'll just end the stream and then probably push all these changes. So we did running. Why you're running npm install? I mean, we already installed it. It's okay. But it will not. Yeah, because already all the packages were installed, so it will not do anything. But it will update. Now it's running the migrations, which is available in migration.json file, migration.json file, and that's it. Update. Cool. So this is it. This is how you can migrate your next version with whatever packages you are using, and we'll continue tomorrow with what we have to do is we have to see the new API and probably a little bit of signals. We saw some APIs, right? We saw how to create a signal, then we didn't saw much about it. We saw like two signal, two observable, these two APIs, but we have to set you see set, we have to say update, we have seen compute. So we'll see set and update. So thanks again for joining everyone, and see you tomorrow. And that will be the last stream of this week, and then we'll continue on Monday, and we'll see what we can uh, continue on next week, because I don't think so there is something which we can cover about Angular anymore. You can see like how Angular is actually simplifying the APIs, how easy it is becoming for you. Probably we can do some refactor later on. We can just have a refactoring stream where I refactor the code again, as we have done so far, right? We keep revisiting the code base and see if something can be refactored. So cool. So see ya. Bye bye and good night.